So you're able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we already are logging as now Logan McNeil, okay, and proxying, and I'll just show you. So this was the employee I hired yesterday, okay. I'm just checking why this in the search that VK pay group is not coming. Let me just see, because this was the employee. So what I'm saying here is for this consulting service, right? So when you go and people who have gone from the HR background, right, who have done the HR course, so they must be knowing already this step whereby you go and you create a copy of the business process, right? So here, if you copy the business process with none of the above, so then what happens is that there is no approval applied. And as a result, you don't get any approvals in that flow. So for this this particular supervisory organization, if I use the task, then it will not take me through the approvals. It will directly go for, let's say the task will be complete and the person will be directly assigned to the pay group. Okay. So let me just see, I mean, because I added 3 people in the pay group, okay, and even the somebody had the doubts on the position also, right? The position tab. So that also was something I had worked upon as demo transaction I had done. One second. Okay, let me just try this one. So here, if we take any worker that it can be to for any supervisory organization, that will cause a problem. Let me just I'm just trying to search for the same pay group because that's the one where we had done the this thing, right? Pay group. Or otherwise, let's create a new pay group quickly, and I'll just add this.
Why don't you pick up mine? It came up there, the one which I created.
Okay.
Just type in pay group 1.
Pay group 1, okay.
Yeah,
Because
just type in pay group 1.
Yes.
And then you see AS underscore pay group.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
mine
mine. Yeah.
also came. Mine also came, I think.
Okay.
So
Okay,
yeah,
fine. Okay, yeah.
thank you for this. Thank you for this. So because this search actually sometimes causes this thing, right? Keywords. So that causes sometimes difficulty. So keywords are we cannot
So,
even.
is this the problem with the GMS tenant, or do you see these kind of problems occur in the real-time projects also?
No, real time it's fairly faster and fairly like you search because previously till yesterday I was able to search with VK, right? Today it's not
Right.
searching with VK. So
Uh-huh.
I'm finding it this thing, right? So this is like for in the real time, like this is never an issue. It is only in the
Okay.
these kind of tenants, demo tenants. So we have to find the issue. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So here you can see, right? So first question, right? Somebody had raised, right? What is like we have to add the members, right? So here, if you see, there are three members are added. One is like Sam, Raymond, and Babita, and they are from like Sam is from a different supervisory organization, and Babita and Raymond, they are from a same supervisory organization. The difference is Raymond already existed in that supervisory organization, and Babita is newly hired in that supervisory organization. Okay, now my question here is, people are aware of this concept of supervisory organization in this group?
Yes.
Yes, Vaibhav.
Yes.
Okay, who is not? Who is directly coming into payroll? So I'm assuming like everybody knows, everybody is aware of what is supervisory organization, right? Ashok?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm there.
Okay, fine. So great. So that makes things easy. So the thing is like that is a concept, like the core concept, core HR concept. Okay, and that one should be knowing. Like when I say supervisory organization, so one should be knowing. So here, if you see Raymond Kim and Babita Joseph. But Babita Joseph is somebody we hired. Okay, Raymond Kim is someone who was like moved, assigned to the new pay group. So let us do one thing. Let's again hire one employee in the same consulting services in Asia Pac. Okay, and let that person be a part of this pay group. So let's do that exercise, and I'll come to this step also. If you see here, now what I have done is another transaction which I'll show you, whereby I have moved Babita Joseph from this particular supervisory organization to another. So it's a basically a movement from one supervisory organization to another, where you see what is happening. So it is giving you the data where for consulting service Asia Pac, one staffing action is in progress because that is in transaction. The transaction is in progress. The movement of the employee Babita Joseph from one supervisory organization to another is in progress. So that's the reason it is showing like this. And where I'm transferring him to product development supervisory organization. That's the reason it's saying in progress staffing action. So I would say that you can explore it more. It's more of a HR concept. So, but yes, definitely it gives you an information here that employee is moving from one particular, well, like from supervisory organization. What is the status of the staffing? Okay. So let us do one thing. Let us try to add one hire. Okay. We'll just hire one employee in again this the same supervisory organization I'm using because I have disabled the BPs here. So let me create one new pre-hire. Okay. So I'm just doing a pre-hire and then I'll just immediately do a hire. Okay. So let's keep the hire date as 1/1/2019. Okay. Reason, let's say we take the reason as new position. Okay. And let us see. I created some positions here with for HR analysis role. Okay. And let's use that position. And then job profile, we can just take any job profile for the time being. Let's take again HR manager. Manager. Okay. Pay rate types. Okay. So if you see here, pay rate type is salaried and hourly, right? So remember we had a concept of salaried versus hourly. So this is a field which impacts the payroll as well. Guys?
Yes, sir. Yes, Vaibhav.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So I will not elaborate on that, but I hope that you have that concept clear. So I'll just submit it now. Okay, let's see what are the errors. Okay, position. So okay, so we did select it, right? Okay. Employee type. Yeah. Anyways, fine. So just I'll just submit it. Okay. So straight away the hire. Usually we know that hire process takes too long. It will go through various approvals and various compensation. Also, you have to add. You have to add the assign the additional organizations also. Then you have to assign the pay group. So we have just put a straight away transaction that okay, this person has been added now. So the second step, what we'll do is we'll assign this person into our pay group. Okay, so now it is added, right? So if you can, if you look at the screen, now it is added, and so there will be nothing change in the staffing part. Staffing is totally different. Staffing and unfilled, unavailable to fill. So these are position based, and whatever the employee movements are there based on that, whatever is the staffing status, it gets reflected over here. Okay. So this was another question, right? We had yesterday, and I think these two questions are clear now, right?
Vaibhav, I just have one more question. Like, why is this unavailable to fill tab is there in this pay group? Like, I remember the tab, the significance of the tab is to show the unfilled positions in the supervisory organization, right? So what's the significance of that tab?
So that is also, if we go to unavailable, yes. So if you see here, so that's actually, it is not used for the payroll processing as such, but it is tracking the movement of the employees. If you see here, basically, this product development supervisory organization, in this position is closed. There is one closed position, right? So it's talking about that. And if you see here, you have one of the employees who is from supervisory organization product development. Okay, and if you see here, there is a position product developer. So we can see like if this position is closed or not. Let's see that.
So I think Vaibhav, like, do you think this pay group was added in those supervisory organizations because of that it is tracking those positions in this pay group?
Yeah, pay group was added in that supervisor. No, within the pay group, you added members of that supervisory
Yeah.
organization, and due to this, it is tracking the employee and position statuses in this pay group. So it's
Okay.
reflecting. It's a informative information, I would say. It has nothing to do with the payroll part, but yes, definitely for a person who is processing the payroll, or maybe somebody who is a like the payroll business partner, right? He will be having access, so he can have a look, and yeah, that's information for that person.
Okay, Vaibhav, thank you. Got it.
So yeah, so this is one of the items which we were discussing, and then on the run category, right? So I think there were some questions on the run category also. Let me just open, because yesterday I remember that we could not complete the entire grid. We just moved from there, right?
Yes, yes, Vaibhav.
So since you people are from non-ERP background, right? And I think I would like you guys to learn payroll, right? So I'm just changing a bit of the approach, of course, right? Everybody have to do the exercises, but definitely what I'll do is you will also have an option to, in case required, whenever there are situations like complex setups or anything, I will keep the setups ready over the weekend. Okay. So if you need, you can copy it as well. So the idea here is, if let's say if you are from a non-ERP background, okay, and if you're trying to make trying to get an opportunity into Workday, right? There could be different ways you can be employed by the company. Of course, one is as an implementer. When you are an implementer, you need hardcore knowledge of setups, you need hardcore knowledge of calculations, selection criteria, everything, and of course the payroll knowledge is very, very important, right? But on the other hand, you can also be a part of a business, right? A company which has implemented Workday, and they have like an in-house Workday payroll processing team, and that team typically works on the dashboards. If you have gone through my demos and all, you would have seen, right? We extensively use the pay cycle dashboard and payroll
Right.
dashboard. So those guys are primarily on the data and primarily on the dashboard and processing the whole uh, like the task and everything, generating reports, statutory reports, and yeah. So for them, data is also having a good sense. So for an implementer, yes, there could be a Workday certification required, but if you would like to join as a company as a HRIS analyst or as a part of the payroll processing team, I think you should be able to with the knowledge in these sessions, you'll be able to kind of go through the interviews and definitely like come out successfully.
Okay, Vaibhav.
So coming to the edit run category, so let's just open that as well. So on this page, right, do you have any questions? I know there are some points somebody said, right, this gross, what is this gross, right? And I said it's a pay accumulator, and if you say we can open this as well, and you will see that what are the earnings contributing to that particular pay accumulator. So anybody has some questions here on this page?
Uh, so Vaibhav, like regarding that pay accumulator gross and net, and I saw like a couple of options available in that prompt. So do we get to know more in the future classes, or else like do we have to learn everything from this grid on this page only? I mean, I'm just trying to understand. I know,
No, no,
like
no, no. Definitely, pay
initially,
accumulator is a very important. Yeah. No, no, I got your question. Yeah, so that will be covered separately in other classes because, as I said, this particular page is a high level setup, and it requires the other components as well. But uh, these components, just like this pay accumulator, it will be covered in detail in other classes also, because once we take up the next class will be the earnings and deductions, and definitely after that accumulators also we have to discuss, because in any payroll, right, we have accumulation of the earnings, the YTDs and the QTDs and month to date. So without the accumulation of the earnings, the payroll is doesn't work. Yeah, so it will be covered.
okay, yeah.
So right, and
Vaibhav, like when you scroll up, like you do have that tabs, different tabs, right? I think we already discussed. And then if you scroll up a little bit.
yeah.
So when do we use the like on cycle, on demand, and on demand additional manual? All this comes later, or we just set it up yesterday, just we had to complete it?
So we had just gone to two tabs. So first is the general tab, whereby we'll pick up the statuses of the workers, right? Based on the statuses of the workers.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, if you saw the run category, in this run category was assigned to our pay group, right? The VK pay group, correct? And now out of the 4 employees, which are the members of that particular pay group, those employees are on different statuses. So right now all are active, but there could be a chance that some employees out of them can go on leave, or some can be terminated. So the run category helps to determine the statuses of the employees who are members of the pay group. Okay, so it will pick up there. So this is the first tab is statuses. Second tab is any confusion, please call it out, right? Any yeah, man, for everybody, right? Please feel free to call it out. Okay, so then the second tab is a pay component to process. This pay component to process, I already explained it. Okay, so I think we spent some time. Third tab is one which we missed. So we had the off cycles. Okay, so here we have the off cycle and on demand payment. Basically, as I said, right, for on demand is typically like you can say ad hoc kind of a payment. Okay, and how they use is like sometimes there is a payroll, like a check has been produced for an employee. Okay, and that check is to be cancelled and employee needs to be paid separately. Okay, so that is one scenario whereby you can use the on demand. So there are two options here, type of run, if you see, on demand and manual. Manual also should be there. Yeah. So on demand, you can say, is nothing but your off cycle. Okay. Manual is again off cycle, but the typical scenario is more of a recording of one particular payment. Let's say an employee joined after the payroll cutoff date. Payroll cutoff date for a company is 20th. Employee joined after 20th and he joined on 24th. So for the 6 days of work, he's supposed to be paid. So he gets paid on a check. He is given a paycheck, and then of course this transaction has to be recorded. So from the next month, he's like added to the system and processed, but we have to record this particular transaction as well somewhere. Okay, so for that, the manual payment also is used. So again, the concept is same. Just like the second tab, also you had pay components to calculate. Here also we have the pay components to calculate, and then pay component groups. Pay component, as I said, these are like earnings and deductions. Pay component groups contain many pay components together. So you can club many pay components into one group. Then type of run, I already explained. Off-cycle reasons. So that's important. So what is this off-cycle reason? Whether it's a bonus. So off-cycle, you understand, right? It's an ad hoc kind of pay. Any day on the month or any day during the pay period we can pay to the employee. During, like it could be for any reason. It could be a travel expense. It could be anything. Okay. So here they have mentioned bonus, additional pay. So these are the off-cycle reason. And status is nothing but your initial, for whom you would like to give this particular pays, like the earnings for whom exactly means like what worker status. So here is the status. So this is only for the active workers. Okay. So the third tab is for the off cycle. And what we do in real time, like we will have, as I said, right, this is not a very frequent setup which we do. So we will, based on the requirements, we can even have only a single or let's say 1 or 2 run category created. And we can use that run category in the payroll processing. Okay. Okay, coming down to the gross pay accumulator. So let us do one thing. Let us open this also. Let me see if we can just have a look at. So I'm just navigating for a while. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we're just trying to see. So this has to be corrected, right? If it has to be US, then we will not use Canada. But did you see how I navigated? So now we are on the earnings part, right? So what all earnings are there within that accumulator? Okay. So as I mentioned, gross had the pay component. Okay. And in that pay component, we had multiple earnings. So these are the earnings which are there. Okay. So entire set is there because, of course, for apart from the base pay, let's say typically if we talk about employees, so every employee will have base pay, but then other earnings, right? Different kind of car allowance, mobile allowance, all those allowance and all. It can vary from pay group to pay group, person to person, right? So we need to club all the earnings together and we need to put it in the gross. So this is where you see here. Okay. We'll cover in detail. Once we reach to that point, we'll definitely cover in detail. Now it's still far off. So I'll not focus or detail much on that. I'll come back to the run category now. So any other questions? Because run category now, I showed you the pay accumulator, right? So here we are specifying like what are the earnings applicable for this particular run category. And then typically for net pay also it is there. In net pay, even the deductions will come. So ideally, if you see your paychecks, it is gross to net. So you have a gross amount, all the earnings are added, then minus the taxes, minus the deductions, minus the garnishments, and then you arrive at the net pay. Okay. So for net also, similarly, there is a kind of accumulator here, and then additional pay components groups to calculate. So if I have very specific pay component groups, which also should be a part of this particular run category, then I have to add this. Okay. Now, one question is here, like when we are adding this, okay, it doesn't mean that all the earnings are to be calculated for all the employees. It is not that way. It is that we are kind of setting a bucket where all the earnings are put together, and out of these earnings only, when it comes to the processing, the earnings for the employee can be picked up. Okay. For example, if let's say in this whole setup, in your gross, if the mobile allowance is not added, right, then my employee, let's say the person who I added, I cannot process the mobile allowance for that person. Okay, because it is that the structure or the framework is not allowing the additional earning. it has to be a part of the setups which you have done. So that's the reason in the setup you will add all the earnings for the region, and out of that only when the actual payroll processing happens, based on the amount for the employees, the respective earnings will be processed. Understand?
So, Vaibhav, one small question.
Yeah.
Like, can we expect in real time also we could see something like this? Like in the general tab, we could see all the statuses like this in this run category, how it is configured. Can we expect the same way in the real time too?
No, in real time you will not have access, because here you are getting trained as a payroll consultant, right? In real
Okay.
time, this is a very sensitive configuration. If somebody
Like we
alters
don't
this,
have to see only.
yes. So this is, but that's the reason I said, right? I was just explaining you that this
Yeah.
setup is for the implementer.
Maybe only administrators might have the access to these kind of paid tasks, I guess, right? Like not.
Yeah, yeah. Even they will also. I mean, I think if somebody is payroll super user, he may have access. But then also, this is a setup task, and once it is done, it should not be altered. So
Okay.
in real time, you will not have access. In real time, if you are, as I said, right, if you are implementer, you have access. But if you are like from the payroll business team, most of the tasks you will do on the dashboards. There will be
Right.
like there will be the normal, let's say, even if you have to uh, for example, do any processing of checks or anything, you have to use the dashboards. Maximum what you can get access, I think, is like the earnings deductions. Sometimes you can get the access if you're a super user. That also has to be done very carefully, because it will it can impact the payroll. If you have that can be provided, but only if you're a super user and you're working for some years, because that's a sensitive kind of a setup which can impact the payroll. Right.
Got.
Okay. And then I think we also had something on the maintain net pay election, right? So I think. So these are also admin tasks. Okay, if you see here, I think we had explained this, right? So usually in the real time also, we only use up till here only. So we'll have the payroll rule, and you have the run category where you can add your own run category. Okay. And I would also suggest you one small exercise here. Maybe you can just, because there are two ways. You set up the payment election rules here, and how it comes into effect is here. I'll show you. So if you have got the access to the tenant, I would request you to navigate like this. Uh, can you see the personal data? Yeah, yeah. One second. So these three options under employees personal data, maintain payment election for worker, maintain election option. I would request you to just try to do some transactions here. So typically, if you go here, you can add your accounts, right? If you see the top grid, you can add your accounts. Okay. And for personal saving, checking. These are like various accounts you added, the employee added. Then what are the payment elections? So if you see here, the regular payment, where exactly it has to go. Okay. This is a payment type. So payment type can be check or direct deposit. And we are specifying the system, how the regular payment will be processed. So here, if you see for the employee, we added for direct deposit is 250 US dollars, and then you have the checking account, okay, where the balance goes. So any employee can set it up like this through self-service, provided we have the rules. We have the run category added to the maintain payment election rules. So that is the administrator page where we saw that the run category can be added, and here the effect will come. So I would also suggest that if you get some time, you can just navigate to this page and perform some transactions. Okay, add some bank account. So here you can add the bank account as well, but you need a valid IBAN, RR number, and all that. Okay, so just try filling this information. Okay, so once you do this, the account is added. You'll have another this thing. So another entry here. So like this, you are having the account numbers. You will have one more entry here, and those entry means like you have added one more account as an employee, and that particular account also you can use in your payments, regular payment or bonus payment. So just try to explore this particular self-service page. Okay, and then we'll again talk on the concepts of the net pay election. Okay, and any other item I'm just thinking which we can touch upon? Payment automatic assignment rule. Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. Yeah, I thought we had to create a rule, right? And then when we are creating a pay group, we had that option.
Yes.
Yeah, can we cover that?
Yeah, again, that's a implementer task. So for a business payroll business person like who's working payroll business team, that may not be required, but yes, certainly we have to cover that. So let us just go to create pay group assignment rule. So let us try to explore this particular task. What exactly is there? Okay. So okay. So category is optional. So we'll just see here. So typically think about some condition here, how you can set a condition whereby your pay group
Job
is,
profile or something?
yes, you can have, there are multiple fields, like you can have job profile, you can have FTE, you can have standard hours, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so if it's a salaried employee or an hourly employee, so fields like that you have to fix. For example, if you want to process this pay group only for salaried employee, so you have to find a respective field here and add that field here. Okay, so let us try one. So pay type was one field which was holding salaried and hourly, if you remember. Right, while we were hiring, right, you saw that field?
Yeah, pay type. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Salaried and yeah,
Yeah, so
hourly.
I'm just looking. So we have to be a bit logical here when we are trying to make assignment rule. What field we have to use and how the automatic assignment will take place.
Yeah, yeah. How do we develop that logic? Yeah, just the same thing what you just said. Like you need to think wise to get that feel. You said, right? How do we get that? Like with the
Yes.
experience, do we get it, or else like is there any place we can just look? Like maybe the what do you say? That business object we need to go and read. I mean, see all the fields available there. You need to go see. I'm just trying to understand how do we decide that particular how do we get to know that particular field we have to use? How do we find it?
Right. So no, find it, definitely you can find it here. But yeah, to answer your question, if you want to develop the logic, you have to have a good understanding of the HR data. So if you have done the hiring, right, when you did the hire, the core HR, so every field has a significance. It's not just not a value or a addition, right? So you had the field like the pay type, what is that, how hourly or salaried, or somebody is in shifts. So basically, I would say if you need to have a good logic, first, of course, you need to have a good understanding or a significance of what the field actually means and how I can utilize that field. So you have to think through in the sense, like for this pay group, first thing is like, let's say step by step. From the business, what is the requirement which is coming? So business actually gives you some requirement that, okay, for this pay group, you need to only process salaried employees. Okay. Now the thing is, okay, you noted it in the requirement gathering and discussions and all. Okay, now how do you go about it? How do you ensure that for a particular company, under a particular pay group, when an employee is added, let's say not in the pay group, when a particular company, a person is added, he is automatically assigned a particular pay group. Okay, so there could be some conditions which you have to think about, right? Whereby a person is from US, and let's say a person meets the standard hours of 35 hours, taking an example. So these are and conditions you'll put. And let's say uh, the business also says that we only need to process full-time employees in this particular payroll. So then you add one more condition, and the FTE has to be 100%. Then only you automatically assign this pay group to the employee of this location. So like that, you have to think through. I mean, yeah, this will come with practice only, but there is no standard this thing. Kind of if you think that there is a standard document, yes, if you search on internet, you can find a couple of 2-3 documents. Some scenarios even I can provide you, good scenarios also. But definitely, this is an area where implementers, they do work, and once they take the requirement from the business, they try to build that automated logic and put it in the test instance, test it, and then move it to the production. So sandbox they will do, and then they can move it. In fact, it will go through a couple of testing, not only sandbox, test and sandbox, and then it will move to the production. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, how we have to go.
Yeah, what I understand is each and every field, if we try to understand what it does, I think this becomes easy. So when you have to build these kind of rules, if you know properly what fields are there,
Yes.
It'll help you to think and come up with that particular field, I guess, right?
Of course, of course, of course. So the logic is, let's say,
Very
if you,
important to understand first.
yes, yes. So if let's say you want to have a logic based on location, to be very simple, to keep it very simple, people from one particular state, let's say somewhere like New Jersey, you want to assign a certain pay group on certain condition. Of course, your logic should have one condition whereby location is New Jersey. So likewise, this logic also I would say it's dependent on the requirement you're gathering. And the thumb rule for requirement gathering, of course, is like business always like gives you, as per my experience, they will give you kind of limited details, but you also have to ask more questions around it. So then only you will be able to get more details around it, and then you'll be able to build the logic. You'll go back and you find the respective fields, and you build the logic.
Okay, Vaibhav.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in the process, we'll use this particular rules also. We'll use in the earnings also. There are worker eligibility criteria also, and of course, little bit. Are you familiar with SQLs and all? SQLs you work creating queries and all.
Yeah,
And
familiar. Not so
Yes,
close,
Vaibhav, yes.
okay,
but
so
not
are you?
really.
Yeah. So if you are okay at it, if you are good at understanding the and or logic and understanding the basic SQL logics when it comes to data, then it should be fairly easy for you guys. Although,
Yeah. Actually, truly speaking, we have been practicing this in the reports and HCM and integrations. But I had this question all the time because when I was practicing new things, sometimes I get confused in the report logic, filter logic, and everywhere. So I thought of just asking you, how do you come up? Each and every person has a different approach, right? So I just try to understand.
right. So my
I don't have
approach, yeah, go ahead, please.
no, you go ahead, Vaibhav. I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah, so my approach always, as I said, right, since I've been in the industry for now 20 years, and I think the core thing is like you should understand the data very completely, and it is easily said than done. People who are looking at the data differently, they will have different kind of understanding. It looks that, okay, we can pull out any field and we can try to use it in the criteria, and then we get the unexpected results. So why does it happen? So first step itself that we have not picked up the correct fields, the related fields or which are making the business sense. So we have not picked that field, and that's the reason we are entering into this issue. So yeah, I think over a period of time, I'll also give you certain scenarios how to create the pay group automatic assignment rules. Let's say, so this is one activity or a scenario creation activity which I'll do over the weekend also. So maybe I'll share it with you also. Okay. Okay, and I want to cover one more topic. Is it possible? Like, can we just this
Sure,
one?
Vaibhav.
Yeah,
No
because
problem.
Sure,
I don't want
Vaibhav,
to
we are
confuse
available.
people, but I think we can just get into the earnings. At least we can start earnings and we can just look at the base pay, not other earnings. Other earnings also, there are many earnings you create for a particular company and particular payroll, but uh, I'll just touch the base pay. How it is linked to the core HR. How the linkage is there. Everybody is okay with that, right?
Yeah, we are okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So this create pay group automatic assignment will just I'll give you certain at least one or two to three scenarios. I'll give real time scenarios also. I'll set it up in the system and I'll show it to you how it works during the weekend. Next class, please do remind me. That will happen on Tuesday. I'll share it with you guys. Okay. Then coming to the earnings, right? So So guys, it is not that we will just move ahead and will not touch the topic back. In case anything is missed upon also, we can again touch base on that same topic a bit so that doubts are cleared. Okay. So I'm just trying to create one base pay. Okay. So these people who would have gone through my demo also, they would have seen this, I think. this part. Maybe just I'll keep it.
So earnings, these kind of data won't be changed very often, right? Like one-time setup or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes. This will be one-time setup. Only thing is the employee data will change. Employee
Yeah,
base
right.
pay can change, right? Due to promotion or a merit or um, any kind of movement from one location to another.
Right. So my question here is generally I'm asking the effective dated details you just gave 1/1/2019, right?
Yeah.
Usually what date would be there in the setup, like 1/1/1900,
Yes,
1/1/1950,
yes,
like that?
yes, yes,
Okay.
exactly. Because there is a reason behind it, right? If you logically
Right.
think, right, effective date, if you keep 1/1/2019, right? So
Yeah.
we are assuming here,
Not
yeah, all the employees will be hired later than 1/1/2019 because only if they are hired after 1/1/2019 we can assign this particular earning to them. Otherwise, we cannot, right?
true. Yeah. For our
Right,
practice purpose, you just gave that
right.
date. I
Yes.
just
So,
want
no, so if you want to change, we can change it also. And yes, that's the safest way. Even not only this, even if you see the other setups also, by default, we give it as 1/1/1901. Okay, so in the initial setup, why we do this is like we have to bring in the historical data also, and let's say we are doing an implementation for in year 2019. Okay, but we also have the data which has to come into the system from let's say 2000 onwards. So we cannot predict like how much old data we have. Like we are obviously there'll be a cutoff date, so we have to give the date somewhere as 1/1/2000, 2000. Or the best practice is like if you give 1/1/1901, that's a very common practice across HCM systems. You will not have any issue on the effective date, right? For example, suddenly I created a location and it's for 1/1/2019, and now I'm trying to update some employees data of like location change data for 1/1/2018. So that system will not allow because the location newly created is for 2019 and not 2018, right? So best practice is, as you said, 1/1/1901. If you keep, then definitely uh, it is fine. Okay, so it will be available. Basically, the setup will be available.
right. Yeah.
Okay, so this basically is a page where you have a lot of options. Okay, I'll cover in detail. Okay, you have worker eligibility also. Schedule, everything is there, but you will not use all the options in real time, but definitely some options you will use as an initial setup. Okay, so but what importantly right now I would like to show you is like how our earnings are linked to the compensation plan. Anybody knows that? Is someone aware of that? People who worked on
Yeah.
the
I mean, we learned compensation, and there we know that compensation elements are the connection between HCM and the payroll.
yeah, so you did you explore that?
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, fine. So that's good. So I think for rest of the people, I think we have to just give a bit of info on that. Okay, so we are just trying to create a simple base pay. Okay, so I'm just tagging this earnings to a base pay element, the compensation element. Okay, and compensation element is nothing but the smallest unit of any compensation. If we talk about it's the smallest unit, you can say as a definition, and that will hold the amount, you can say the base pay amount. Uh, setup wise, it is the smallest unit which you have to set it up. Then you add this compensation element to the compensation plan. You add the compensation element to the earning, and that is a linkage between the compensation plan when you add where you add the base pay and the earning which you set up on the payroll. This compensation element is a link which you have to provide all the time, so that during the hire itself, whatever the base pay has been provided, it gets processed via the earning in the payroll. Okay, so I'll take you to that as well. 1 second. So this is base pay. I'm just adding, so it should give some messages. Let's see. Okay, so for calculation, we'll just give amount for timing. Let's see. So, ideally, we can pick up any value for timing, but yes, we'll just try to see if some amount value is there. So what we are specifying here to system, just to make you understand here, from where the amount is coming, basically in this earning, right? What exactly happens is like we can set an earning based on any amount, or it could be unit into rate, or it could be derived out of some other earning. So there are different ways of building a earning, right? So I'm just adding any one for the time being. Base, let's say base prorated. Okay, so let's put it this way. And then this compensation element is base pay. Let's see now. Okay, and we have the maintain. What is the task, guys, for the compensation element? Maintain compensation element.
I think it is create
Yeah, it's on the
create
screen.
a salary plan or something like that. It's
Yeah,
not maintain,
yeah.
I
So,
guess. Yeah.
so I'm on the, like, if you can see my screen, so the base pay is here. So if you see here, base pay, can you see?
Yeah, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so for any compensation plan you are adding on the HR side, of course, there is a compensation element also you are associating with. For base pay, it is here. You see down below the car allowance and everything is also there. Okay. So here we maintain the compensation element, which is first used in the compensation plan and then used in the earning, which has the linkage. Now quickly, we'll just open a compensation plan also. What is the task? Create comp plan.
Yeah, create compensation plan. Okay,
Actually, it is. Can you
Create
create a
salary
salary plan, and that
Salary
it's a
plan.
create salary plan, and then in that you do the base salary, base
Yes.
and everything. Yeah,
Right.
it's that. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Good.
this effective date is like, yeah.
2019 we'll just put. So here, if we just try to see. So if you see here, we have the same base pay, which can be selected. Now, the point here is this salary plan is something when you hire a person, you fill up the basic job profile position details. Then the second step comes is like to add the compensation, to add the base pay for the person, base pay on any other additional allowances or whatever for the person. So during the staffing event, you will see this particular whatever you set it up here. So you will have a step specifically to add the base pay for the employee during the staffing event. Let's say, for example, hire. Now, once you add the base pay, how this is linked to the payroll? It is through this particular compensation element, base pay. And if you saw previously, we had added that base pay to the base pay earning. Had created one earning, base pay earning. So this is a linkage, and through this linkage, this is only for the base pay, but yes, for other earnings also, we have to set it up like this only. We have to have the linkages between the HR and payroll, and the linkage is done by the compensation element, as you see on the screen. Okay, so guys, I think for now we'll stop, and I think next is like our session will be on Tuesday, from where we will talk on earning in detail, and in the meanwhile try to explore more on the framework. Okay, try to have the setup, and I will also do certain setups for you guys, because if it's like for the non-ERP folks, like it will be a convenient thing. You can refer to my setups as well, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure, Vaibhav.
Sure, Vaibhav, sure.
Any questions? Any last minute questions from anyone in the group?
Yeah, I think I'm good now. I have to go through the material and your recordings one more time, and I might come up with some questions in the next session.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Vaibhav, one basic question I had, like when you were categorizing, like this is the implementer's task and this is the one which the business does. So the training which you are going to give us, it will be a combination of both, or it is just that we'll be learning from the implementer's side? And
No,
for the
yeah,
jobs, you know.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, you can tell me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the reason I had taken a feedback from you guys yesterday, right? So who has been working as an implementer, or who has got a prior ERP experience? So why I was taking that input was like it helps me set the direction also in the whole like for the whole course. And yes, you need to be aware of the implementation task, right? Because even if you're not doing it, you will have a good understanding of the system, and you will not whenever you're talking to the implementer or a functional consultant, you will have a good awareness of what that person is doing. You will be able to negotiate on the activity also well, right? For example, if somebody tells you that, okay, for a pay group creation, it will take 2 days, you will say, no, it doesn't take 2 days, right? So from the knowledge perspective, definitely the implementation knowledge is required, and you will definitely get that knowledge here. And in addition, since you're talking about the job part, and I feel that we have to master the dashboards. That's what I was thinking yesterday, that all the dashboards you should master. And even if you have to go for the interview as a like payroll business, from the business side, if you're showing that kind of a base or experience, right? So then the questions will directly come on the data part, right? How much good you are understanding the payroll data. Let's say whether during the payroll cutoff, what activities you're doing, how you are processing the monthly, or for your region, how you're processing the payrolls. So I would say then the focus shifts towards the dashboard and the activities which are there on the dashboard. Point number one. Point number two, what you do on the year end. So some activities on the year end also you'll have to understand, and that will cover you up very nicely with respect to the non-implementer job, I would say. So yes,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So focus when it is implementation. If you are working as a pure implementer, definitely you have to implement the complex business scenario. But if you are on the business side, then definitely you need to understand the Workday payroll processes in more detail.
Okay.
Does
And
that
so
answer your question?
whatever you will, yeah. So the training, whatever you were going to give us would cover both of them. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes, and that's the reason I think because yesterday I was under an impression that we have a lot of implementers also in this group, but then we discovered that we have a very limited number of people with the ERP background itself. So it cannot it cannot go on that pace. That is for sure. So I'll cover it up in such a way that yes, you are confident about all the transaction what you have done in the system. We'll keep on achieving different like milestones within the system, and eventually, of course, with this knowledge, you should be able to get a job. Not as implementer, then definitely, because implementation also needs a Workday certification. Then definitely you should be able to get into one company, any captive as HRI as analyst or a part of the payroll business team. So, and you also know that once you start, you work on a payroll, jobs are secured. Payroll is definitely hard work during the month ends and year ends. But one good thing about payroll is you will always have your job secured because it's like a critical job always for the company, right?
Any percent pay is important, right? So obviously it's a
Yeah. It's very important, yeah.
Yeah, so you'll never lose your job. That's for sure, right? So I would my approach is like my suggestion and like inputs to you would be like that only. Like you mold yourself or you prepare yourself in that way. So extensive, you should like in an interview you should be able to talk extensively about the pay cycle dashboard or payroll dashboard or a year-end dashboard. So that is.
yeah, Vaibhav.
Okay.
Actually,
Thanks,
Vaibhav,
thanks,
yeah,
Vaibhav.
one quick just suggestion. I know you're planning to do that anyways. So you know when what point to give some kind of activities, right? You know, like which is the right time to give certain kind of activities so that we can practice on those and we can,
Yes.
you know what I mean, right? Like yeah, just don't hesitate to give any activities and just don't hesitate to ask us any questions, so that because our goal is to learn. So
Right. Right.
please give as many activities as you can and keep us busy.
Yeah. Actually, that is very, very true. But yeah, I'll give as many activities, but um uh, based on, as I said, right, we do not need to do too many activities because that will actually kind of stress out if you're not able to do a task properly. If let's say if you're taking 7 tasks, yesterday when I was taking the training, it was almost like the implementer has to work in that pace only. So if you are doing 7 tasks and all 7 tasks you are doing improperly or that ways, rather than that you do two tasks and do it very properly,
Yeah,
right?
I
So
understood. What I'm trying to say is just
uh
different kinds of activities. You
I
said, right? Like,
yes,
so
I
that
would. Right. I'll take care of that. I will
yeah.
give you activity as per the significance it has got. For example, let's say if you have to do something on the something related to the position side or something, that will be irrelevant for our like current course. So that will not be a part of that. But yes, definitely I'll take care of all the significant activities, and rather than that, we will also create data in the system that will make payroll more interesting. As I said, right, for any other, for you should know that, for example, Canada, you have a Quebec, right? Quebec versus non-Quebec. So for Quebec, the taxation is altogether different. For non-Quebec states, non-Quebec states and provinces, the taxation is altogether different. Okay, you have the EPP, you have the CPP, Canadian Pension Plan. So EPP is the federal level. Then you have the employment insurance. So all these concepts, when you start learning it, right, so, and then the payroll becomes really interesting. So setups I understand because it is not making a business sense for you guys at this point of time. But once you start having a look at the data, it will definitely give you more interest in the whole this thing. And then you start doing your math. okay, manually also you are doing on the paper, you will find it very interesting that, okay, I'm able to calculate this, and there will be scenarios also. Let's say somebody has worked for a part period, and how we have to, is there any impact on tax, or somebody has moved from one state to another, is there an impact on the tax? So like that. So we'll cover the scenarios also. So that will be a part of exercise.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Vaibhav.
Thank you.
Vaibhav, Ashok.
Hi, Ashok. Yeah. Tell
I'm
me,
actually
please.
I'm actually from Quebec, from Montreal.
Okay.
So,
Okay, great. Okay.
okay. So did
So
you
maybe
share
Ashok, you can give us some scenarios.
maybe, I don't know. Did you share the framework document which you are referring? Is that shareable document? The Word document which you were using, I think, on the first and second day session?
That is I think those are the, you can say, gist or the notes which I prepared for you guys to understand. So if you, so if you go to the books, right? So I think later your organizer will share the books as well with you. So if you go to the
Okay.
run category, the run category will be 60 pages, right? So if you keep on reading
Okay.
the 60 pages, you cannot do on the tenant. So I have to bring out the gist for you guys. So those are notes. But yeah, you will get the material from the organizer. If you just contact him, you will get the
Okay. Okay. Fine.
material.
We will get in
Yeah,
in few days. Right? That's fine.
yeah.
And the
So
next
Ashok,
class is on Monday evening, right? Yes.
yeah, Monday evening for you guys.
Yes.
It will be next class. So you, Ashok, you have a payroll. Have you worked in payroll previously? Any time?
No, I have not worked, but from the HR point of view, I used to support the payroll. My role was I was the point of contact for the payroll and all the
Okay.
HR data inputs.
Okay, so that is good then. I think, I mean, definitely we'll have more discussion. I also hold a Canadian payroll certification. So,
Oh, good. Okay, nice.
so I have the, what is that, payroll compliance practitioner certification for Canada. Apart from the regular payroll activities which I do for US and Canada both. So we'll
So that's a lot
discuss
of
on that.
that's a lot of work to do that certification. I checked the details, but it takes a lot of time.
Yes, yes. So I think I did some around 3.5 years back or something like, yeah, 3.5, 4 years back.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So good day, guys. I think we'll meet again on Monday night for US folks, Canada folks, and Tuesday morning for India folks.
Thanks, Vaibhav.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Sure,
Bye.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day. Bye.
Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.